Life has a funny way of teaching us lessons through the people who enter and exit our journey. Sometimes the ones who hurt us seem to find their way back, and it can leave us questioning our worth, our choices, and even our hearts. But here's the truth. When someone comes back after causing pain, it's never a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their own unfinished growth. People return for many reasons: nostalgia, comfort, fear of change, or simply because they see what they lost. And while it may stir emotions, it's important to remember that your peace, your dignity, and your happiness are non-negotiable. The power lies in understanding the dynamics, setting boundaries, and reclaiming your energy. Healing is your priority. Self-love isn't just a phrase, it's a practice. And every time someone tries to return after hurting you, it's an opportunity to stand taller, to shine brighter, and to make choices that honor you. Never forget, your worth isn't measured by who leaves or returns. It's measured by how fiercely you protect your heart and how gracefully you choose your path forward. When someone comes back after causing pain, it can feel personal, almost like a reflection on you, your choices, or your ability to love. But the truth is far from that. Their return is never a measure of your worth, intelligence, or beauty. It is a mirror of their own journey, or often the lack of progress in it. People hurt and leave for many reasons: fear, immaturity, inability to handle emotions, or simply not understanding themselves fully. When they return, it's not necessarily because they have changed or because you were inadequate. It is often because they are seeking something they couldn't find within themselves, something they missed or didn't appreciate before. It's important to notice the patterns. Those who leave and come back repeatedly are usually linked with internal conflicts, guilt, or regret, and not with your value. Their presence or absence doesn't define who you are. It merely exposes their own unfinished growth. They may have recognized the space you occupy in their life, the security you provide, or the love they took for granted, but that realization is about them, not about you needing validation. Understanding this subtle but critical distinction changes the way we see these moments. Instead of questioning yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, or doubting your judgment, it becomes a chance to observe the dynamics clearly. It helps you separate their insecurities, mistakes, and fears from your own self-worth. The pain they caused, the mistakes they made, and even the regrets they now carry are entirely theirs, not a reflection of your inadequacy or failure. When someone returns after causing pain, a big part of their motivation is often nostalgia, the pull of memories and moments shared that they once cherished but didn't fully value at the time. Nostalgia has a strange way of clouding judgment, making people long for the warmth, familiarity, or ease of the past without considering the reasons they left in the first place. It's not about the person they're coming back to. It's about the comfort that relationship or connection once provided. Humans naturally seek familiarity. Even when a relationship has been painful or challenging, the mind tends to romanticize the moments of joy, selectively remembering the good while glossing over the hurt, confusion, and conflict. Comfort is closely tied to this. Returning to someone after leaving can be an attempt to regain emotional safety or stability that felt absent elsewhere. They may crave the security, understanding, or acceptance they once had, mistaking it for a fix to their own discomfort or loneliness. This is why their return can feel intense, confusing, and emotionally charged. It's easy to interpret it as love or care, but in reality it often stems from their own need for reassurance and the ease of familiarity, rather than a genuine transformation or commitment to growth. Recognizing this pattern is essential. It reveals that the reasons for their return are externally focused. They are looking for what they lost, not necessarily acknowledging the full impact of their actions. The pull of nostalgia can be powerful, making their presence tempting, even seductive, as it awakens emotions and memories that feel irreplaceable. And yet, understanding that this is more about their search for comfort than a reflection of your worth can help disentangle the emotions stirred by their return, allowing clarity amid the confusion. One of the most common, yet often unspoken reasons someone comes back after causing pain is fear. The fear of losing something they realize they cannot replace. When a person leaves, they might assume that space, love, or connection will always be there waiting, only to discover that absence creates a void they hadn't anticipated. Fear of loss is not about the other person's worth. It is about recognizing that what they let go of holds value that they hadn't fully appreciated at the time. This fear can manifest in subtle ways: a message, a call, or sudden reappearances that catch you off guard. It's an acknowledgement that the world outside that connection is uncertain, uncomfortable, or lacking the warmth and familiarity they once had. Sometimes they come back seeking to reclaim what they perceive as theirs, as though trying to undo the consequence of leaving. But this return is motivated by anxiety, insecurity, or the realization that life without that connection feels emptier, rather than a sincere commitment to change or understanding the pain they caused. It's important to recognize that fear-driven returns are fundamentally self-focused. The emotions driving them are reactive, rooted in panic, regret, or desire for reassurance, rather than reflective of respect, accountability, or growth. The intensity of their return may make it seem like a deep emotional awakening, but more often than not, it is a response to the realization that the absence of what they had has consequences they weren't prepared for. Their fear is externalized, projected onto the person they return to, creating a moment of emotional turbulence that can be confusing and overwhelming. Understanding the role of fear in their return allows you to see the dynamics clearly. It is not a statement about your value, but a window into their hesitation, their regrets, and their internal struggle to confront reality. The power lies in recognizing that fear-driven actions rarely come from a place of genuine transformation. Instead, they are a reflection of how much someone has learned or not learned from their own choices and experiences. Another reason someone may return after causing hurt is the desire for closure, not necessarily for you, but for themselves. Life doesn't always offer tidy endings, and sometimes people leave things unresolved, carrying guilt, confusion, or questions about what went wrong. Returning can be a way for them to attempt to resolve their own unfinished business, to reconcile with their past actions, or to ease the discomfort of knowing they hurt someone they once valued. Closure-seeking behavior is rarely about repairing a genuine connection. Instead, it is about soothing their conscience or attempting to rewrite history in a way that feels more acceptable to them. They may come back to explain, apologize, or justify their actions, not because they have fundamentally changed, but because they need emotional relief from their own regrets. This can be confusing, as it may appear to be a heartfelt attempt at reconciliation, when in reality, it is a reflection of their internal need to make peace with themselves. Sometimes this return carries with it a mixture of guilt and nostalgia, creating an illusion of care or renewed interest. Their focus is primarily on alleviating their own discomfort, on making the past feel less heavy, rather than truly understanding the impact of their actions or prioritizing your healing. This dynamic can be subtle and complex, often leaving the person on the receiving end feeling torn between empathy, hope, and caution. Recognizing closure-seeking as a motivation allows for a clearer perspective. It emphasizes that the action is about their journey, their attempt to reconcile their choices, and not necessarily about changing the relationship or proving your value. When someone returns for closure, they are navigating their own emotional landscape, and the process is centered on them, not on the consequences their actions created, and certainly not on validating or affirming your worth. One of the most important lessons when someone comes back after causing hurt is recognizing that your peace is non-negotiable. Peace is not just a state of mind, it is the foundation of your emotional and mental well-being. When someone who has caused pain returns, it can stir a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, longing, anger, or even hope. Amid this emotional turbulence, it is crucial to remember that your inner calm, your stability, and your sense of security are not optional luxuries. They are essential. Prioritizing your peace means setting boundaries that protect your heart and mind. It means understanding that no external situation, person, or circumstance should compromise your emotional equilibrium. When someone attempts to re-enter your life after inflicting hurt, their presence can threaten that balance, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It becomes necessary to assess whether allowing them back serves your well-being or merely satisfies their need for comfort, nostalgia, or validation. Choosing peace over reaction is an act of empowerment. It involves acknowledging the impact of past pain while refusing to let it define your present or dictate your choices. This is not about suppressing emotions. It is about maintaining a center of clarity amidst chaos. It is about knowing that your time, energy, and emotional investment are precious and should only be shared in ways that nurture rather than disrupt your life. Protecting your peace requires self-awareness, courage, and a commitment to yourself. It is about being honest with your feelings, discerning intentions, and prioritizing environments and relationships that promote growth and serenity. When someone's return threatens that, it becomes a test, not of your feelings, but of your ability to safeguard what matters most, your sense of self, your calm, and our happiness. When someone comes back after causing pain, one of the most powerful tools you have is the ability to set and maintain boundaries. Boundaries are not walls designed to shut people out. They are clear markers that define your space, your limits, and your emotional safety. They are a declaration of self-respect, a statement that while you may feel deeply, your well-being comes first. Establishing boundaries is essential because it allows you to engage with others from a place of strength rather than fear or obligation. Returning individuals may test these limits, consciously or unconsciously, challenging your clarity and resolve. They may try to evoke guilt, nostalgia, or doubt in order to bypass the boundaries you have set. This is why understanding and asserting your limits is so crucial. Boundaries create a framework in which interactions can happen safely, ensuring that your peace, dignity, and sense of self are never compromised for the sake of someone else's convenience or remorse. Empowered boundaries also help you differentiate between what is acceptable and what is not. They are not just rules for others, they are commitments to yourself. By clearly defining what you will tolerate, you send a strong message to both yourself and others that your emotional and mental health are priorities. This clarity prevents confusion, reduces the risk of repeated harm, and reinforces the idea that your worth cannot be undermined by past actions or manipulative behaviors. Boundaries are a reflection of confidence. They communicate that you understand your value and will not settle for less than what nurtures your growth. They allow you to engage with people and situations intentionally rather than reactively, protecting your energy and ensuring that you do not get pulled into cycles of pain, regret, or indecision. By honoring your own boundaries, you model self-respect, teach others how to treat you, and create space for relationships that are balanced, healthy, and mutually enriching. One of the most profound truths when someone comes back after causing pain is that healing is always a choice. Healing is not something that happens automatically with time, nor does it depend on the return, apology, or recognition of the other person. It is a deliberate act, a conscious decision to prioritize your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being over the chaos of past hurt. Choosing to heal means reclaiming your power, refusing to allow someone else's actions to dictate your inner state, and committing to yourself in a way that is transformative rather than reactive. Healing begins with acknowledging the pain without judgment, accepting the reality of what happened, and understanding your own emotions without shame or blame. It requires courage to face the wounds openly, to sit with discomfort, and to allow yourself to feel without being consumed by resentment or regret. This process is not linear. It can be messy, slow, and at times overwhelming, but the very act of choosing it positions you as the author of your own emotional narrative, rather than a passive participant in someone else's journey. When someone returns after causing hurt, it can tempt you to pause, reopen, or question your progress. But the choice to heal empowers you to maintain clarity, perspective, and control. Healing is about nurturing yourself, seeking understanding, and letting go of attachments that no longer serve your growth. It is a commitment to self-love, where your priorities, boundaries, and emotional integrity guide your actions rather than external pressures or fleeting emotions. When someone comes back after causing hurt, it is completely natural for a storm of emotions to arise. Confusion, anger, longing, disappointment, and even hope can swirl together, making it hard to think clearly or act decisively. The first step in navigating such moments is recognizing that these emotions are valid and human. Feeling them does not make you weak, nor does it diminish your strength or wisdom. Emotions are the language of the heart, signaling the depth of your experiences, attachments, and values, and they deserve acknowledgement rather than suppression. It is important to give yourself permission to feel without judgment. Many people struggle because they believe that experiencing strong emotions somehow makes them vulnerable or less capable. In reality, allowing yourself to fully experience your feelings is a form of empowerment. It provides clarity, insight, and perspective. When someone who hurt you returns, your emotions act as a compass, highlighting what matters, what boundaries need reinforcing, and what decisions will truly honor your well-being. Emotions are also reminders of your capacity to love, to care, and to invest deeply in life and relationships. The intensity of your feelings reflects the richness of your inner world, not a flaw or weakness. Acknowledging emotions without being overwhelmed by them requires self-awareness and patience. It means observing the rise and fall of anger, sadness, or longing, understanding their source, and letting them inform, but not dictate, your choices. Furthermore, emotions can guide growth when channeled constructively. Reflection, journaling, meditation, or meaningful conversations with trusted allies can transform raw feelings into understanding and resilience. Recognizing that emotions are natural allows you to approach a person's return with awareness rather than reaction, and it helps create space for discernment, self-respect, and measured responses. In this way, emotions serve as both teachers and signals, revealing truths about yourself and the dynamics at play, without compromising your sense of control or clarity. When someone returns after causing hurt, it can be tempting to question yourself. Did I do something wrong? Was I not enough? Could I have prevented this? These thoughts are natural, but they often come from a place of external validation rather than truth. Your worth is never determined by another person's actions, decisions, or behavior. It is self-defined, rooted in the understanding of your own value, integrity, and the respect you show yourself. No one else has the power to diminish that unless you allow it. Defining your own worth means cultivating a deep sense of self-awareness and confidence. It involves recognizing your strengths, your boundaries, and the unique qualities that make you who you are. It is understanding that love, respect, and commitment should be freely given, and if they are withheld or violated, it does not reduce your value. When someone comes back after causing pain, their return may stir doubt, but it does not rewrite the truth of your character, your accomplishments, or your capacity to love and be loved. Self-defined worth also creates resilience. When you know your value, you are less likely to be swayed by apologies that feel convenient, gestures that are performative, or attempts to manipulate your emotions. You can engage with situations from a place of clarity, not fear or insecurity. Recognizing that your worth is inherent allows you to make choices that align with your growth and happiness, rather than reacting to someone else's attempts to influence how you feel about yourself. Furthermore, self-defined worth empowers you to set boundaries, prioritize your peace, and maintain perspective. It is a reminder that no relationship or person can complete you, and that your happiness, fulfillment, and sense of self are your responsibility. One of the most profound ways to respond when someone returns after causing hurt is to embody graceful strength. This is a combination of resilience, dignity, and self-assurance that allows you to navigate complex emotions and situations without losing your composure or sense of self. Graceful strength is not about suppressing feelings or pretending that pain doesn't exist. It is about responding with awareness, self-respect, and measured confidence. It is the ability to acknowledge the past, recognize the present, and act with intention rather than reaction. Graceful strength requires a deep understanding of your own value. When someone who hurt you reappears, it can be tempting to let emotions like anger, longing, or confusion dictate your behavior. However, true strength lies in maintaining clarity, protecting your boundaries, and choosing responses that honor your integrity. It is about standing tall in your self-worth, allowing your actions and demeanor to reflect your internal resilience rather than the turbulence stirred by someone else's return. This kind of strength also involves patience and self-awareness. It means taking the time to assess the intentions behind someone's return, the potential impact on your life, and the alignment of their actions with the respect you deserve. Graceful strength is the quiet confidence that you do not need to prove anything to anyone, nor do you need external validation to feel whole. It allows you to approach the situation with discernment, empathy, and poise, without compromising your emotional safety or priorities. Moreover, graceful strength transforms challenging encounters into opportunities for empowerment. It becomes a form of leadership over your own life, demonstrating that your happiness and peace are non-negotiable. It inspires self-respect and models to others and even to yourself that strength does not have to be loud or aggressive. It can be calm, measured, and inherently powerful. In embodying this, you reclaim control over your narrative, making choices that reflect not only survival but elegance, courage, and unwavering self-worth. Another essential aspect to navigating someone's return after they've caused hurt is trusting your intuition. Intuition is the quiet internal compass that guides you toward choices aligned with your well-being, values, and self-respect. It is an innate sense that can often detect subtle cues, inconsistencies, or hidden intentions that logic alone might overlook. When someone returns, emotions can cloud judgment. Memories of joy, fleeting hope, or even guilt can create inner conflict. But your intuition provides clarity amidst that turbulence. Trusting your intuition means giving weight to your instincts and paying attention to how situations truly feel rather than how they appear on the surface. It encourages a deeper awareness of motives, behaviors, and patterns, allowing you to distinguish between genuine growth and performative gestures. Your intuition is informed by your experiences, your past lessons, and your understanding of yourself. It acts as a protective guide that can prevent you from repeating cycles that compromise your peace or self-worth. This practice also involves honoring the subtle signals your body and mind give you. Hesitation, discomfort, or unease are not weaknesses. They are indicators that deserve acknowledgement. By listening to these signals, you validate your own perspective and reinforce self-trust. Intuition is not impulsive. It is reflective, thoughtful, and deeply connected to your inner wisdom. Moreover, trusting your intuition empowers you to make decisions confidently without relying solely on external validation or someone else's narrative. It allows you to navigate returns with discernment, courage, and self-respect. When someone comes back after causing hurt, one of the most critical perspectives to hold is the commitment to personal growth over repetition. Life has a way of presenting the same lessons in different forms until they are truly understood. People who return often bring with them familiar patterns, behaviors, mistakes, or emotional turbulence that were part of the past. It can be tempting to fall into old dynamics, to relive familiar moments, or to give in to nostalgia. However, prioritizing growth means recognizing these patterns and refusing to let history repeat itself at the expense of your well-being. Growth over repetition requires reflection and self-awareness. It means observing the ways past interactions impacted you, understanding the lessons those experiences offered, and consciously choosing responses that align with the evolved version of yourself. It is not about holding grudges or shutting someone out arbitrarily. It is about protecting your progress and ensuring that your emotional, mental, and spiritual growth are not compromised by cycles that no longer serve you. This perspective empowers you to set intentional boundaries and make decisions that reflect the person you have become. Instead of reacting impulsively to familiar behaviors or emotional triggers, you respond with thoughtfulness and clarity. Growth encourages patience with yourself, giving space to process feelings, analyze motives, and determine whether engaging with a returning person aligns with your current trajectory or threatens to pull you backward. Choosing growth over repetition also reinforces self-respect. It is a statement that you are no longer willing to tolerate the patterns that once caused pain, that your experiences have taught you valuable lessons, and that your time, energy, and emotions are precious. Growth transforms past hurt into wisdom, allowing you to navigate the complexities of someone's return with insight, strength, and empowered discernment. It becomes a lens through which every interaction is measured, not by nostalgia, guilt, or fear, but by the potential to contribute to your continued evolution and well-being. Another vital principle to embrace when someone returns after causing hurt is empowerment through detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference, coldness, or a lack of compassion. Instead, it is a conscious decision to separate your emotional well-being from someone else's actions, choices, or return. It is a form of self-mastery that allows you to engage with life, relationships, and challenges from a place of clarity and strength, rather than being governed by dependency, fear, or expectation. Detachment empowers you to observe situations objectively. When emotions run high, it can be easy to get entangled in drama, guilt, or longing. By practicing detachment, you create a mental and emotional buffer that lets you analyze behaviors, patterns, and intentions without losing your center. It allows you to recognize whether someone's return is motivated by genuine growth, selfish needs, nostalgia, or fear, and to make decisions that prioritize your long-term peace and happiness over short-term emotional impulses. This kind of detachment also fosters resilience. It reinforces the understanding that your value, self-respect, and personal growth are independent of external validation or attempts at reconciliation. By detaching, you reclaim control over your emotions, choices, and reactions, refusing to let the actions of others dictate your inner state. It becomes a tool of liberation, allowing you to navigate complexity with grace, assertiveness, and emotional intelligence. Empowerment through detachment does not mean closing your heart. It means guarding it while still being open to possibilities that truly seize of your growth. It is about recognizing that love, respect, and connection should never come at the expense of your self-worth or peace. One of the most powerful tools when navigating someone's return after causing hurt is cultivating clarity over confusion. Emotions can cloud judgment, making it difficult to see motives, patterns, or the reality of a situation. Confusion often arises from nostalgia, guilt, or the sudden rush of hope when someone re-enters your life. Choosing clarity means intentionally stepping back to assess the situation, observe behaviors, and understand your feelings without being swept away by reactive impulses. Clarity allows you to distinguish between genuine change and temporary gestures. When someone who has hurt you comes back, it can feel overwhelming. Their words may sound sincere, their actions may appear thoughtful, and yet underlying patterns may still be intact. By prioritizing clarity, you give yourself the ability to see beyond surface-level appearances and recognize whether their return aligns with authentic growth or simply a desire for comfort, validation, or control. Achieving clarity requires self-reflection, patience, and mindfulness. It involves asking yourself honest questions. How do their actions match their words? Are patterns from the past repeating? How does engaging with this person impact my peace, boundaries, and personal growth? By examining these questions with honesty and presence, you prevent external circumstances from distorting your judgment and maintain authority over your decisions. Clarity over confusion also reinforces self-respect. It empowers you to act from a place of conscious choice rather than emotional reaction. Instead of being swept into cycles of indecision, doubt, or manipulation, clarity provides a stable foundation from which you can respond with insight, integrity, and self-assuredness. It is a reminder that while emotions are natural and powerful, they should never eclipse awareness, discernment, or the truth of your value and priorities. When someone returns after causing hurt, one of the most powerful anchors you can hold on to is self-respect. Self-respect is the internal compass that keeps you aligned with your values, boundaries, and sense of worth. It acts as a guide, ensuring that your decisions are never dictated by guilt, fear, or fleeting emotions, but by a steadfast understanding of what you deserve and what aligns with your personal integrity. Practicing self-respect means valuing your time, energy, and emotional investment. It means recognizing that while forgiveness and compassion are virtues, they should never come at the cost of compromising your dignity or repeating cycles of pain. When someone who hurt you reappears, it can challenge your sense of balance, stirring complex feelings that tempt you to lower your standards or make exceptions for behavior that once caused harm. Self-respect is the safeguard that prevents this. It reminds you that your peace and well-being are non-negotiable. Self-respect also manifests in how you respond, not just in what you allow. It encourages measured, intentional actions rather than reactive impulses. You do not need to prove your strength, justify your choices, or seek validation from someone whose actions previously undermined your worth. Instead, self-respect allows you to engage with clarity, dignity, and empowerment, making choices that honor your growth and long-term happiness. Furthermore, self-respect fosters resilience. It reinforces the understanding that your value is inherent and cannot be altered by someone else's return, apologies, or attempts to rewrite the past. It becomes a guiding principle in every decision, ensuring that your boundaries, emotions, and aspirations are protected and nurtured. By centering self-respect, you navigate the complexities of returning relationships with confidence, awareness, and unwavering. Strength, knowing that your ultimate loyalty is to yourself and your well-being. When someone comes back after causing hurt, one of the most transformative principles you can embrace is the act of choosing yourself first. This is not about selfishness or disregard for others. It is about prioritizing your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being above the chaos, confusion, or drama that someone else's return might bring. Choosing yourself first is an assertion that your life, happiness, and growth are your responsibility and that no one else has the authority to compromise your path or your peace. Choosing yourself first requires awareness and courage. It means pausing before reacting, reflecting before engaging, and assessing whether involvement serves your long-term growth or simply satisfies someone else's need for comfort, nostalgia, or reassurance. It allows you to act intentionally rather than impulsively, ensuring that your energy is invested in relationships, experiences, and choices that truly honor your worth and values. This principle also reinforces self-empowerment. When you choose yourself, you acknowledge that your decisions matter, your boundaries are valid, and your priorities are non-negotiable. It prevents you from being swept into cycles of disappointment, manipulation, or emotional turbulence, and instead positions you as the central force in your life. Choosing yourself first means that even in the face of someone returning, their presence cannot dictate your self-esteem, dictate your emotions, or compromise your progress. Moreover, choosing yourself first cultivates inner strength and confidence. It is a declaration that you are capable of creating fulfillment and joy independently, that your worth is inherent, and that your well-being takes precedence over the need for external validation. It fosters clarity, resilience, and empowerment, allowing you to navigate the complexities of relationships with awareness, dignity, and intentionality. By consistently putting yourself first, you reinforce the truth that self-care, self-respect, and personal growth are the foundation of every meaningful choice and every authentic connection in your life.